Love Within the Music.
Love Within the Music was one of Lloyd's ideas, actually, to do a collaboration with, again, some of the UK's finest artists, you know.
Yeah, man. Very private collection.
Yeah, and that
Richard Davis, Bitty McLean, Michael Gordon.
Hollypot artists, and it's like, again, enough respect to Lloyd Brown, you know, because one thing I believe in is self-reliance, you know, and it's easy when you've got a record company that's investing in you, who've got a purse that they can spend and invest in your career, but when you're doing things off your own back, you know, a lot of artists drop out before they get to a stage where they have to do things for themselves, you know, so I've been fortunate where I've always tried to do my own music and, you know, own my own little studio and do my thing, and I tried to show that to Lloyd Brown, and he's in a position now where he's got his little studio set up, and so self-reliance is the key, you know, and I kind of stress that to most new artists that are coming into the music business. Try and do as much for yourself,
right.
You know, no man's an island, but try and do as much for yourself that you can, as opposed in the sense of recording your material. You know, it's easy nowadays, you know, you've got access to a computer and stuff like that to get your demos and ideas put down, you know, and then you can take it to a next level in that sense, you know, to link up with maybe a producer and stuff like that. But self-reliance is the key, especially in the business where piracy has really taken the music industry to probably the lowest level in a long time. You know,
you have to control your own works.
Yeah, this is it. Control your own works. This is it. You know, your writing and your publishing, stuff like that. You know, there's a list of things to keep in mind, but self-reliance kind of puts everything under that bracket.
I think the younger generation in the music industry today, they kind of lack that, you know, in terms of, you know, controlling their own,
that's really
the business aspect.
That's really the future of it, to be honest. And it's a good thing. I mean, the technology, don't get me wrong, is a good thing. The fact that you can record a song and it can be sent around the world in a matter of minutes, you know, with MySpace, YouTube, and a number of different platforms that are out there, Facebook and so forth. I think that's a good thing. You know, that's a good thing, but in terms of the piracy of the music, where you have an artist that spends X amount to make a record, and the first week it's released, it's pirated 2,000-3,000 times, that's not really going to help the business or the artist in that sense. You know, so that's something which I don't know how that's going to be addressed in the future. But no, the technology is a good thing, you know, because imagine if you're an artist who hasn't got access to a studio or a record company that won't, you know, take you up or something. You know, the technology is good. You know, you make a little demo and you can post it to the world to see, and they can make their judgment if you've got what it takes. You know, so it's a good thing. And the young people are living in an era where it's a lot easier than when I was their age. You know, I never had access to a studio until I actually worked or went to college to study, and then found myself in a job, a profession working. You know, but there's many artists that couldn't afford to go to a studio to record, so they've got. It's a lot more easier in this day and age. A lot easier, trust me, man.
We're going to touch on love within the music. Teach the children love within the music. A little hope so they'll go strong. Teach them the right so they'll know wrong. The children love to sing to our music. So won't you sing their songs of life instead of building wars and strife? Love the youths, teach them truth, make them understand. They are weak and they seek loving guiding hands. For so long you've been playing songs. All along you've been playing wrong. Little baby will have twisted mind. And the father's will refuse to shine. Won't shine. No, it won't shine. He won't shine until you teach the children love within the music. A little hope so they'll grow strong. Teach them the right so they'll know wrong. Your children love to sing to our music. So won't you sing them songs of life instead of building walls of strife? Love the youth, teach them truth, make them understand. They are weak and they see loving guiding hands.
For so long you've been. Trevor Hartley.
Yeah, man, some voices on that one.
Yeah, man, Trevor Hartley.
Yeah, holy artist.
Love that voice.
Yeah.
Want to say big up to Donna Marie in London, regular listener to Re-Rock and to Derek Marsh right here in Spanish Town. Yeah, man. Bitty, the music industry right now in Jamaica, I don't know if you really, keep up to date, but what do you think about, where we're at in the industry right now?
I try and keep up to date. I mean, once or twice a month I travel to Europe. I do shows in Europe, and I'm amongst some of the top sound systems that play in Germany, Italy, and so forth. And it seems everyone's kind of saying the same thing. The lyrical content needs to step up a gear.
Okay.
And even some of the productions need to step up a gear. I mean, this is a conversation we have all the time. We link with certain soundmen, and after show we sit and reason. And it seems everyone's trying to say the same thing, really. The lyrical content especially needs to step up. So that's really it. I'm not really one to judge artists or producers and stuff, but I kind of feel the same way. We're living in an era where we need more positivity, day to day, and I think the music should reflect that.
Right.
Too much beef, too much war within the music, which does nothing.
That's why we say love within the music.
Yeah, that's right, because there's no artist that is bigger than music. None, whether they're Prince, King or Queen. No one's bigger than the music.
Personally, for me, I can't understand the separation. You have one side over here, you have A over here and B over here.
Well, in Europe, it doesn't make any sense to us because the arguments that are within the music fraternity doesn't mean anything if you live in Berlin or if you live in London or if you live in Rome. So no one's really interested in that in Europe, to be honest. We just want good music. We pay our money to go clubbing and go out for a night to get away from the problems of life. So more positivity within the music, and I say that 100%. That's really what's needed, and it's really what was the foundation of Jamaican music was positivity.
I was about to say that the fundamental thing about reggae music is upliftment,
yeah.
Unification.
That's right.
Harmony.
But in another sense, it's like we're living in a time and a society where the world isn't really a positive place. You switch on the news, how much positivity do you see on the news from day to day? And I'm not just talking about Jamaica, I'm talking internationally, worldwide.
Right.
I live in London, and you put on the BBC News, there's not much positive things or positive message being portrayed to young people. Not even young people, but young or old. There's not much positivity out there. We're living in a world where vanity is in your face 24 hours a day, gold, platinum, clothes, jewelry. And this is what young people are growing up to see and aspire to. When I was growing up, what was driven into me and my 5 brothers and sisters was go and learn a trade, be your own boss,
right.
Day to day, week to week. That was what my father drove into us. Learn something, don't leave school without an education. Learn
something in your head.
That's right, So there was no getting away from that. You had to learn. You didn't want to know what would happen if you didn't. So so I went to college and learned engineering. That was my drive from a young age, music and sound and technology, and that's what I aspired to, and I got through that. There was hard times. I remember going to college, and by midweek 3 of us would be sitting down eating one patty, so I went through hardships and stuff like that. So you have to suffer, but positivity and the world, the society that we live in nowadays, like I say, goes back to that point that there isn't much positivity being promoted. There's a lot of vanity and a lot of negativity. So what do you expect society to portray back if that's what you're portraying to people? It's like a mirror. The society reflects what you're promoting to them.
Okay.